Apple recently released several updates for virtually all their operating systems, ranging back a couple of versions in order to fix a vulnerability where an app may be able to modify sensitive kernel state. Apparently it's an urgent fix, but as a small business or individual user, should you be concerned? This is Marcel Brown reporting from St. Louis, Missouri. CVE 2023-38606 is the technical identifier for the vulnerability that is superficially described by Apple as a security update for the kernel in their operating systems in which an app may be able to modify sensitive kernel state. Additionally, they report that the issue was addressed with improved state management. While technically accurate, upon further investigation, it does not detail that this vulnerability was part of the so-called Operation Triangulation Campaign that was discovered and publicized by Russian security firm Kaspersky in June of this year. If you are not aware, this malware campaign appears to have been targeted at government officials, primarily in Russia, and senior employees of Kaspersky. It appears that the campaign has been active since 2019. So for those of us who are not government officials or high-level employees of security companies, should we be concerned? First off, if we follow best practices for technology security, we should go ahead and update our Apple devices with the latest operating systems as soon as possible. This will effectively end the threat from this malware campaign. That being said, updating now does not help if our devices had been targeted for this malware. In theory, the malware would have been able to send sensitive information from targeted devices to the perpetrators of the attacks. There is no real way to know if a device was targeted without going through an elaborate process of creating an offline backup of a device and doing a forensic examination. The good news is that while this sounds very dire, the reality is that these types of attacks are usually very targeted to high-value individuals such as government officials, dissidents, corporate executives, and reporters who have very sensitive information. This is similar to the recent Microsoft hack that was directed at email accounts of certain U.S. government officials. Those who are using the attacks want to keep them secret so that the underlying vulnerabilities they are taking advantage of are not discovered and patched. Therefore, these types of vulnerabilities are not exploited in a widespread manner because they are often extremely technically complex to pull off at all, let alone covertly. Secondly, because those who discover and exploit the vulnerabilities do not publicize them among hacking or criminal circles. Therefore, the average individual out there should not be overly concerned that they were targeted by the Operation Triangulation attacks. If one is following good security practices by protecting their data correctly and monitoring important accounts, the risk is minimal. But again, do make sure to update to the latest versions of the operating systems of your Apple devices, including iPhones, iPads, Macintosh, Apple TV, and the Apple Watch.